Of course, completing the ramps here is only part of the battle. They have to complete the surrounding roads. But once it's finished, that could mean big things for the area around North Liberty.
I commute to Iowa City to the hospital every day, so it'll help a lot.
That's right, Christopher. Drones can provide a view that most can't get without expensive equipment. That's why we fly the Skyview drone, which is what you're seeing right now. Of course, it's not actually in the air due to daylight and wind restrictions. But when we do fly this craft, we abide by FAA regulations. In fact, those regulations, if we violate them, we could lose our license to even fly this thing. But not everybody who uses drones is or even has to play by the same rules. Well, Janae, right now, for the large part, the city of Palo in and of itself is dry. Now, we're going to pan over from the town here via our Skyview drone as we're climbing up now to about 140 feet. These are some of the backwaters from the Cedar River. Now, you can see this main channel at the top of your screen, but these are some of the backwaters that are now backing up into Dry Creek here in town. As we climb up to about 280 feet now, we're going to pan further over, and you can see how that water is encroaching on Blair's Ferry Road. There you see the bridge over the actual channel of the Cedar River. And this water is creeping up, but this is something that they are prepared for. And for now, it appears that the levels here in Palo should stay below where they would impact any homes. Of course, we're going to continue to monitor as these river levels hopefully begin to level off and fall in the coming days as it comes down the Cedar River. Reporting live in Palo, Nick Weig, CBS 2 News.
Weather First team coverage continues now with Fox 28 News reporter Nick Weig. He's giving us a little perspective on what's heading our way. Nick.
Yeah, guys, as Terry just said, right now in Cedar Rapids, the wind chill is already at 25 degrees below zero. Now, before you ask, why are our bosses making us be out here, I want to assure you, I offered to do this. As you can see, I'm wearing plenty of layers. My photographer, Scott Zimdar, is actually inside a heated garage, and we're also utilizing a very large kerosene heater here to kind of offset some of that frigid air outside right now. But despite all of these efforts to try and combat the cold air, all of this might not be enough to take on what's to come.
And I'm seeing some things that I haven't seen on charts, and I've been doing this now for almost 43 years. That should give you a tip-off. This is not your ordinary stretch of weather.
Weather First Chief Meteorologist Terry Swales isn't joking. The potential for all-time record-setting cold is now just days away, and it's all thanks to the polar vortex.
It's going to be directly over the upper Midwest. That puts us very close to the proximity to the coldest air relative to average on the planet.
And with a heavy snowpack forecast to get even deeper by next week, don't expect a quick recovery.
This is going to be an epic 7 to 9 day stretch here in eastern Iowa.
Many are already taking notice. A quick check of some of the warm apparel at the Marion Menards shows Iowans already got their hats and gloves, but face masks are now flying off the shelves.
They're just selling out fast. Really fast, which is good and bad because the next person that wants one, I don't have any in stock right now.
Besides personal protection, Giese wants people to remember that ice melt and wiper fluid will stop working at 20 below.
The sand's pretty much universal year-round. Any temperature, it'll work.
Safe to say when it's this cold, all of us are saying the same thing.
Oh, I'm ready for it to get warmer.
All Terry can say is stay positive.
Well, spring is getting closer and closer. The days are getting longer, Nick.
Now, 23 years ago, I was actually a high school student living in Strawberry Point when nearby Elkader set the all-time record low of 47 degrees below zero. Now, hopefully we're not going to see anything like that, but this could be the closest we've come to that all-time record low since 23 years ago. Underneath the chandelier where the Iowa Supreme Court once dispensed justice to the people of Iowa.
I'm safe for now, but that's going to change soon because I'm here.
Story after story of personal injustice that tenants of mobile home parks owned by out-of-state corporations say right now is perfectly legal.
I pay taxes, I work. So how can he tell me that I don't have a right to own my home?
The issue is companies buying up mobile home parks and dramatically increasing costs to make a quick profit.
Right now we are vulnerable. We are threatened. We desperately need the protection that you all, our elected representatives, can give us in this upcoming legislative session.
If residents can't afford the bump in rent, the corporate owners can force them out quickly. But even homes that are labeled mobile are far from it.
We built an addition on, and besides being too expensive to move, I've been told my home can't be moved.
Tenants say they deserve basic protections, more notice before eviction, oversight on rate increases, protections of their investments, and the right to negotiate as an equal partner with the landowners where their homes stand. Several lawmakers who came to listen agreed.
Well, we're here because of the urgency of out-of-state threats. I think there is a broader conversation that's been delayed forever.
There are signs of the holiday season all over the state capitol right now, but the people who spoke out today said the rising cost to stay in their homes because of these companies buying up the land is causing them to cancel their Christmas plans and in some cases make far more life-threatening decisions.
One resident who said, I have to decide whether to pay my rent and keep my home or pay for my diabetes medication and keep my foot.
So now these residents return home, hoping for the state to come to their aid before the next eviction notice comes. At the Capitol in Des Moines, Nick Weig, Fox 28 News. Yeah, Christopher, Cargill's actually going back to their original proposal made over a year ago. That's because some city leaders who rejected their second proposal actually said that they would approve this one. And some residents are on board with this plan as well. But many other residents are not. And they are not happy with the way their industrial neighbor is treating them.
This is not a nice guy issue. We do not want Cargill here.
Tension again runs high at a meeting between Cargill and the neighbors near this plot of land the company considers a second time for an industrial rail yard.
It's unfortunate that you can't listen to and respond to those basic concerns, and it doesn't speak well to what's going to happen once you get your rail yard here.
Without getting answers, frustrated residents turn to our cameras.
I don't want Cargill as a neighbor. I've lost interest in Cargill. I don't want to be a neighbor to them. I don't want them next to me. They're going to destroy property values and they don't care.
We caught up with Councilman Marty Hager, who expressed optimism in the current proposal.
Having some neighborhood support behind it certainly helps the cause, and I do believe it's a better location.
State Senator Rob Hogue concedes the neighborhood might have to swallow the rail yard for the good of the city, but
the question in my mind continues to be, so city, what are you going to do for the neighborhood?
As for these neighbors, many were unhappy about a meeting held in the cold with Cargill offering cold treats.
We're outside. Why? Cargill's a wealthy company. They can afford a meeting hall.
Do you think maybe the optics of just simply having an informational setting outside in the cold, literally with an ice cream truck here, was the best idea?
Let me just say that was unusual.
Now, Cargill did not have anyone available to talk at the meeting, but did provide this statement, quote, "We will review all questions and concerns that come out of this meeting and respond accordingly. We will also continue to host small group meetings about the rail yard design, as we have found them to be more productive in exchanging information." Now, Cargill's really racing the clock here. They say they really need this rail yard, and they hope to get it approved by the City Council in the coming months, despite the criticism from neighbors. Live in Cedar Rapids, Nick Weig, Fox 28 News. Yeah, that's right. They do like what they hear, but there's not a lot of specifics coming out in exactly how this will help Iowa's most critical exports, which include, of course, corn, soybeans, and livestock. And with the Chinese delegation taking a little bit more of a pessimistic message than President Trump today, right now everyone is saying the same thing. They really need to see the details.
To me, it's not complicated, but that's what I do. It's a phenomenal deal.
President Trump Friday declaring victory in his trade war with China, but experts say a substantial win is still a long way off.
At this point, any news is good news.
Steve Swanka is happy to hear what sounds like progress, but he needs more. That's because announced exports to China would not make up what was lost in the trade war. But if it becomes reality, it could prove positive in the years ahead.
The prices right now are very stagnant, and there's just, it's hard to put a profit into your profit and loss schedule with the price situation that we're in right now.
So now the question is whether that will trickle down to other retailers that rely on farmers.
I think it's been a little bit better environment this fall than it was this spring.
Clint Gray and other retailers we spoke with say they're doing well right now and are hopeful optimism in the fields and the halls of power in Washington will resonate on their lot.
Guys are sitting back and they're doing their books, they're meeting with their accountants. I think they're finding out that maybe the year was a little bit better than they thought it was going to be when it started, so there's a little more optimism there.
So while optimism springs from the fields across Iowa, the focus remains on wrapping up a long and difficult year.
We've got a lot of beans in the field yet to harvest around here.
And when the harvest finally does end, most will look forward to a better year.
We got to assume that, this will be a step to build and things will get better as we go down the road.
Farmers are eternal optimists, and whatever we don't get out of this year, we'll get it back next year.
And perhaps some of that eternal optimism helped out this year, as farmers we spoke to said that the yields that they saw when they were able to harvest their crops turned out a little bit better than they anticipated, hopefully boosting their bottom line heading into 2020. Live in Monticello, Nick Weig, Fox 28 News. Karen, Ambassador Ron McMullen has had a storied career. He's worked alongside Nobel Peace Prize winners, helped prevent civil war in Fiji, and served as ambassador to the troubled African country Eritrea under two presidents, one Republican and one Democrat. When it comes to President Trump's actions toward Ambassador Marie Yovanovitch today in the form of a tweet, his opinion is quite clear.
Made President Trump look like a buffoon and a bully, which maybe he doesn't mind, but it undermines the credibility of our diplomatic service.
Ambassador Ron McMullen spent 32 years as a Foreign Service officer, serving his country in dozens of foreign nations. Now, he says he's troubled by the political poisoning of a crucial cog in the wheel that keeps America safe.
It's a very, very polarized, very partisan environment now, and it's really diminishing America's credibility, reputation, and soft power around the world.
But Ambassador McMullen doesn't believe what the president is accused of doing rises to the level of impeachment. Others we spoke with disagree.
His accusers say he broke the law, and he violated the trust of the American people, and if those things don't matter to us, then we've lost the republic.
But everyone we talked to says Iowans should pay attention to what is happening right now.
I think politics in general, especially national politics, with an issue that rises to something as big as this, is something that's worth paying attention to regardless of who you are.
And while the president, at odds with his own diplomatic corps, doesn't seem like it would impact the average Iowan, Ambassador McMullen says it absolutely does.
The actions that we've seen in Washington recently, the hyper-partisanship that we've seen, detracts from our ability to do what we need to promote peace and prosperity for Iowa and the rest of the country. Iowa has a very, very export-dependent economy, agro-industries, advanced manufacturing, avionics, services, and the more effective we can engage in the world, the better Iowa's economy will be.
Now, the ambassador tells me one other problem he sees right now is the number of political appointees to the diplomatic corps. For instance, McMullen says about 30% of posts are usually given to supporters and big donors. Under President Trump, that number has risen to nearly half and includes critical posts like the United Kingdom and France. Nick Weig, Fox 28 News.